everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic, and joining me today, via the Frank the Tank Shawhan Wiener Dog clan, is Mr. Adam Shawhan. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me. Just when I think I know all the answers to the questions, they change them. So I am here, happy to be here with you, with all these wonderful folks in Odin's Movie Blog.
Well, thank you very much for being here. Chat, please let me know and make sure that Adam's audio is coming through. It says it's coming through on my end, so just let me know in the chat with a simple yay or nay. Mr. Peabody is here. Jay Chimpansky is here. Force Ghost Jeremy is here as well. Jeremy is trying to grow a beard, yes, but Jeremy is weak and he cannot possibly match mine. His is like a little schoolboy beard, and it's very depressing. Ariok says, Odin needs a handlebar mustache. No, thank you. Alton Foster says, very loud and clear, Odin. Perfect. Super, what's going on? Laura, what's going on? Dave Bob, Dion, what's up, bruv? Audio is good. A little loud. Okay, I'll drop it about 5 decibels. So if it gets loud,
Mr.
guys.
Peabody has speakers on his walls that's blaring us, so you know that's why it's loud.
So guys, just let me know if it's too loud, if it's too soft. Just let me know, and I will make adjustments. But anyway, Adam, so tell the audience, tell Asgard a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to the world of Asgard. For those who maybe don't know you, many of them already do, but for those who don't, who are you?
So I was deemed super fan Adam Shawhan by Jeff Hicks from World Class Bullshitters. I found Odin based off of World Class, their high council with Jeremy. He was kind enough to do his wrestling stream, and all of a sudden he was right on a Geeks and Gamers stream, and he made the mistake of answering me, and then I followed his channel, and that is how I found Odin. But yeah, I am the one with Frank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog clan. That is me behind the scenes, because we do have, at the moment now, we have 15 wiener dogs that are running around here. Peanut is in Texas. She's going to be bred with a wire European line that we are part owners of. And so she's going to go and play with him for a couple months, and eventually we will have babies.
Baby puppies are the cutest, so.
They are, such as Little Miss, who I would have brought down, but, you know, I figured Discord's better because I feel it has way better sound than Hangouts.
Yes, and I would absolutely agree with that statement.
Yes. So, and, you know, we want everybody to be able to hear me, but see you, sir.
Got it.
With that epic beard.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Lethal Lightning dropped a super chat. Thank you for the Aussie $5, sir. Hail Odin. Unfortunately, I'm at work, so I can't watch. Have a good stream. Shout out Superfan Adam Odin. I will remember to message you later. Hashtag ThickFam. Damn right, Lethal. Hope work is going well, and thank you very much for the super chat and also for the shout out to Superfan Adam.
Yes, thank you, Lethal Lightning. Thick fam forever, baby.
Spidey Flash says, hello, Low Council. What's up, Spidey Flash? Super says, Odin, I'm good. Kind of stressing now, but I'm happy to be chilling in Asgard with everybody. Sounds good, Super. And yes, Laura, I am indeed the Beard Master. Adam actually has a pretty nice facial hair going on right now as well. It's significantly better than anything that Jeremy over at Geeks and Gamers could ever hope to achieve. Isn't that correct?
Well, thank you very much. Yes, if you are an old school wrestling fan, it does look more like the Anvil Jim the Neidhart. But that's just because I had to trim and shave mine for my daughter's wedding because, you know, I did want to be proper. And that's how that happened. But I refused to shave the goatee. So I kept the goatee. And if it weren't for that, then I would have a nice full beard just like yours, only a lot grayer.
Well, it's awesome, and I'm glad that you've kept it because it looks so badass, and we need more people. I feel like facial hair is having a comeback in today's age, and it just makes me very happy to be a part of that comeback.
Well, being that you are Odin, the Allfather, I mean, everybody should want to have facial hair just to try to look somewhat better, because it's never going to be as epic as yours, sir.
Well, thank you. And yes, Steph, huge shout out to Ruth, Star Wars for Life on Twitter, who just got a Geeks and Gamers tattoo, and she was putting pictures up through the whole process, and it's really, really funny and cool at the same time as well. I say funny not because it looks bad, but because it's just amazing to me how Jeremy has just grown so much in the past year, and it's just hilarious how so many people have tried to stop him, and now he's so big, he's getting people with tattoos of his channel and his name, and it's amazing. So kudos and shout out to Ruth for doing that. And also shout out to my wonderful patrons as well. Going to get that started off with a great Jedi, Adam Shawhan, who's on right now. Thank you, sir, for being a patron. Let's see. Dave Bob, Delete System 32, Donald Hudson, Edward Coleman, Enrique Evangelista, Frank the Tank, and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan. All of the Wiener Dog Clan. Greta Zenner, Harold Francis, The Hunka Chunka, Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, Claffus, Laura Story, who's in the chat, Matthew Kadish, Mr. Beebody, and his evil twin. We can never forget about that evil, evil twin, who we will never name on this channel because he's that evil. Outpost Dyer, Perpetual Punster, The DJD Show, Those Two Ball Guys, Tina B, and Wolfgang Lounge. Thank you very much for joining. As Peabody says, Adam is another member of your ZZ Top tribute band.
That is correct. I am going nowhere. You just had to mess up and answer.
I had to respond to you.
It's on you, my friend. You just had to respond in the chat because you're a good fella, and that's all it took. It was a hey Odin, and you responded back, and I'm like, hey, this guy's not a douche. Let's check out his channel.
Hey,
but I did see on the wrestling bit. That was the first wrestling show that you had Jeremy on, and I did enjoy it. So I was already a little intrigued, and that was when I was kind of newer to using YouTube. But I did figure it out, and I found you, and I've been here ever since.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But it's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad that you found it because we've had so much fun. And also seeing your dogs and all the pictures has just brought joy because I have dogs and I just love them. Dion, thank you very much for asking. So Dion says, did you get your 300 so we can see your new camera? Yes, indeed I did. In fact, I have a couple of vlogs up on the Welcome to Asgard channel, and I'm still trying to figure it out because the footage is beautiful, but for some reason during the export and upload to YouTube, since YouTube compresses everything, the footage doesn't look nearly as good. So I'm still trying to figure out how to include or improve that. But here is the camera. It's called the DJI Osmo Pocket, and it's a cute little thing. It's a little thing that I can just hold, and see, there's the camera right there. Let me turn it on for you because it really is adorable. Look at this thing. Look how cute it is. Look how cute it is. And then, like, you can triple tap on the button, and it'll turn around into selfie mode. Click it 3 times again, and it'll turn back around. It's very, very cute. It shoots 4K up to 60 frames per second, and it looks really good. But once again, it looks great on my computer, on my display and everything like that. But for some reason, I can't get it to look as good on YouTube, unfortunately. But for every person that donated to that, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And more vlogs will be coming in the future once I figure out everything. But I will say this much. The next video I'm planning on doing is I still have the Porg that was sent to me, and I still need to unwrap it and have it go on the floor, and I'll be vlogging my dog's reaction. So River and Willow are definitely going to be, Alexander says River Cam. Damn right. It's going to be a lot of dogs on the vlog channel. That is for sure. And I see that Ruth is actually in the chat now. So once again, huge shout out to Ruth. Your tattoo is awesome. Props to you, bruv. Peabody says, Odin, we also were all there for the computer build. You must hate us. That's right. Oh, my God. That stream is still up, I think. I don't know if I ever unlisted that stream. At some point, like, in the future, when I'm totally, like, okay and not going crazy, I want to rewatch it. I would love to do like a live stream of rewatching that build just to see and remember how cringeworthy the entire process was. Because as Adam can attest to, it was a rough day for Odin that day in Asgard.
It was awesome. We had bad RAM and bad antivirus. Oh, it was just so great. And that was after the build. So to see Odin go through, and, you know, we were lucky enough and privileged enough to help you pre the stream even, and to just see you go, but I just want it to work. And we're going, oh, it'll work. It's just whether or not, you know, the antivirus works, or all parts will all plug in together very well. But that doesn't mean they will play well together, as you found out. It does happen.
And God bless Mr. Peabody, but he kept trying to walk me through it, and it was like, this is normal. This is what happens, and I was just not having any of it because I was like, no, you spend money on these things to work together, and they don't work together. That doesn't make sense in my little head. And they was like, oh, no, it does. It does. It makes sense. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. But finally, we got it all sorted out. And at this point, there's one fan that's not working quite right, but it's very minor. And so it's been great to have everything just... And also, the backup UPS that I got is finally not clicking every 5 seconds. So I think I've finally gotten that figured out, which is awesome, as River yells behind me. And it's been fantastic. Hamlet Shirt 89, what's up, dude? Hamlet says, do you use Google Classroom in the States? Yes, we do. I don't at the high school level. We don't use it at the high school level. They actually use it for the grammar school that's attached to our school. But we might eventually transfer to Google Classroom. But it is used a lot in the States. That is true. Greta, what is going on, Greta? Alexander says, I hope Adam Shawhan is a great Jedi and not a gray Jedi. Gray Jedi do not exist. Yes, they do. Gray Jedi are a thing. I don't know what you're trying to get at, Alexander, and I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. And also, someone asked how long we're going tonight. I'm going to try and go till around 7:45-ish, because High Council, Adam, you would know. Adam, when is the High Council tonight? Or is there a High Council? They start
generally about 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So, yeah, generally that's about what time they start, give or take. Sometimes they're a few minutes late. There's been numerous times that you've went off and they still hadn't started. So,
very true. And then I just saw it, and Perth Comics says, hey, for the record, I voted for pre-built. And oh my God, it was so funny because one of the best parts of the stream of building the PC were all of the people who were like, well, I voted for a pre-built, but what would I know? Or, man, you should have got that pre-built. And it was just great. It was just so fantastic to have that whole thing happen. And Perth Comics, yes, those cages are for the puppies. They are kennel trained, because if we were to let them loose in the house, dear Lord, everything would be destroyed. But they are kennel trained, and they actually do like their kennels. They feel safe in it, so they've been trained since they were puppies. And River is a little over 2 years old now. Willow is about 1.5 years. So they are both very comfortable, very confident in there. Hamlet Shirt says, I teach grade school, and I'm trying to join the 21st century. Hey, I hear you. I'm lucky enough to have grown up with the upcoming Google and the Google Classroom, having gone to college where the college used Google Classroom. So I have a little bit of experience. So when we eventually transfer over, I'm going to be the one that all of like the tenured teachers start coming to saying, how does this technology work? Please help me. Oh, God. And yes, Frank is right. Frank did indeed vote for the Mac. Thank you, Frank. Adam, tell Frank, tell Frank I say thank you.
Every time there's that opening, you know, Mac.
And I will still, to this day, I would rather have gone through the journey that I went through than ever have bought into the communist company that is Apple. And of course, I'm kidding, because it's about as capitalist as you can get. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Someone had asked a question about numbers, and I think it was a good question to ask Adam for his thoughts before I get into mine. Let us see here. Where was it? Yes, it was from Alton Foster. So if you're still here, sorry I missed the chat. Again, guys, because I am hosting a good and dear friend to the channel, Adam, tonight, I'm not going to be as good with keeping up with the chat, so I'm going to do the very best that I can. If you shoot questions towards us, that would probably be best. So he asks, do you think Captain Marvel will make $650 million domestic? No. I hope you meant worldwide, because there's no chance in hell it's making 650 domestic. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. So since we're going down this rabbit hole, since it was one of my topics, just not quite framed that way. Yeah. So here's what I'm going to say, because the movie's not here, so this is all speculation, of course. But let's say, just on a slight chance that the movie doesn't suck and go full SJW. Okay, let's just say it doesn't, and that they're just playing all these little bits of the movie to get everybody upright. And, I'm not going to go see it. And it turns out to be a decent movie with a backstory that's not too bad. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. Maybe it'll still do good. I don't think it'll do that good.
Yeah.
But what I want to know is then, as long as we don't have the problem of Endgame having her come in and beat Thanos right away or towards the middle of the end,
yeah,
I would like to see it go the way it should go, which is Thanos kicks her butt, knocks her out, and then they relaunch Marvel with Rogue taking her powers, and they relaunched Marvel with the X-Men like they did in the 90s with the comics.
Now that would be amazing. I mean, I think everyone would be on board for that. I think that would get people to actually go. If they did that, then I would say, sure, it'll make 650. Now, just for a frame of reference, guys, if it were to make 650 million domestically, that would mean that it would be only like 20 million behind Infinity War domestically, which I, again, just don't see happening. Infinity War made 678 million domestically. Captain Marvel there's no chance in hell that it's going to make that much. And one of the reasons why I think that, and that's why I'm kind of, and maybe Adam, you might have some thoughts on this. Why do you think that in whatever crazy decision-making process that they had, that they would make Captain Marvel come out 1 month before Avengers Endgame, which is arguably going to be the biggest movie of the year? Like, why do you think they set it a month out?
I mean, it really makes me wonder. That's why I'm kind of saying, let's say they do this. I mean, Brie Larson, I don't like what we've seen. I think some of the funny videos that have come from there have been better. But in all honesty, we've only seen trailers. We've not seen the film. So let's say somehow, by some miracle, they actually do a good movie. Because so far, they really haven't really dropped the ball at all on Marvel's side.
Yeah.
And let's say it's just a kind of a prequel, gives more of her story. And then that movie ends maybe with it jumping into Endgame.
Yeah.
Because you know how we had it where they would kind of build up. That could be the only reason I could see it, because then you'd have 2 months of them making a crap ton of money.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, just for the record, too, like, because I see someone, I think it was Bjorn. Yeah, Bjorn says Captain Marvel can make 650. We're talking domestically. Like, we're not talking worldwide. Yes, I think it's absolutely within reason that Captain Marvel can make that much money. Is it going to make that much money worldwide? I still have my doubts about that because of the proximity. Basically, it has a month to be able to make a crap ton of money before Endgame just takes it all. Like, because once Endgame's out, no one's seeing Captain Marvel. There's just no way. And the whole month going out, from my perspective, is people, especially now that it costs so much to go see a movie. I mean, in New York alone, it costs like $20 just to see a regular movie, not 3D or anything. And people are going to be very careful with how they spend. A lot of people who see movies only see like 2 or 3 movies a year for the most part. And so if you put between them, if I'm going to see Captain Marvel or am I going to say for Endgame, they're going to go and pay for Endgame instead. And that's the reason why I think having it a month out is very risky. And part of me suspects that either one, they don't think it's going to do that well, so they'd rather have an excuse as to why it might not do that well, saying, well, it was a month out and that was our mistake. Or two, they must have that much confidence that they think that's going to make bank on top of Endgame. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But just from a frame of reference too, guys, the Avengers, because just to get I'm going to put to bed the whole Captain Marvel is going to make 650 million domestically. The first Avengers film made 623 million domestically. Age of Ultron made 459 domestically. So there is just, I cannot see any path forward for that film to make that much money domestically. Worldwide, that's a different story. I don't think it's going to crack $1 billion. Do you think that Captain Marvel is going to crack $1 billion, Adam?
No, there's no way. Not with the way that they're doing it, because there's not enough time frame. Like you said, Endgame's going to come out and everybody's going to be all over that. Like I said, if they do the story right, and of course we're all assuming off of what we have seen that it's going to suck.
Yeah.
By some miracle, if it doesn't, I don't see it making that much. Not when you've got, unless it's less than a month, we have Endgame, and that's what everybody's going for. Unless they change their mind and push Endgame back for some unknown reason that we don't see.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a bigger shot in the foot.
Yeah, and I just don't see them doing that because, I mean, Infinity War had that April release, and guess what? It made over $2 billion. I mean, and I think they see the same writing on the wall with this film, because I think Endgame could either match, if not exceed, what Infinity War brought in, just because of how big that movie was. And again, I'm not trying to say that Captain Marvel is not going to make anything. So Bjorn also corrected me saying, oh no, I said it's going to make $650, period. Which, yes, of course, it's going to make at least that much money. Right now, my range, if I had to give a range, and I'll ask for yours in a second, Adam, if I had to give a range for how much money I think that Captain Marvel is going to make worldwide, so domestic and foreign totals, I would say right now it's between 450 and 850. So around a $400 million range. I think on the low end, 450, high end, 850 million, and I don't see it reaching $1 billion. What would your range be, Adam?
My range is it'll make more than the worst movie ever, The Last Jedi. As long as it beats that.
That's $1.3 billion, dude.
Good enough movie that it beats that, then there you go.
But that would mean it has to make over $1 billion, and I just don't think it's going to have it in it. Aquaman does.
It's hard
Aquaman
telling,
can
but
do
I still
that.
got to root for the underdog, just because even though I don't want to see Captain Tuna Box, I want to see it beat The Last Jedi.
Yeah. And also, Super, just again to make very clear to people, because I think there's some confusion, the numbers that we've been talking about for the most part have been domestic numbers, meaning United States. When you add in, like, because Avengers, the first Avengers film made over $1 billion. Like, I think every Avengers film so far up to this point, let me just double check that, because I know Infinity War has, and yeah, every Avengers movie so far has made over $1 billion, with Age of Ultron bringing in 1.4, the first one bringing in 1.5, and then of course Infinity War bringing in $2 billion. So every Avengers film has been very successful at this point, and also, as you've heard from those numbers, has made more than The Last Jedi, which I think makes everyone on this channel very, very happy. Steph says, y'all are OG Asgard peeps. If you remember Odin cleaning up oh god, yes, when I had to clean up the dog crap on air. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes. You know you're OG when you remember that, which I know, Adam, I'm sure you remember.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's been many fun times on streams with the dogs. And like I told you, that's okay, because, I got a whole bunch, and they enjoy when your dogs are on. So that's when I would get the howling. They'd hear your dogs. I think they were just, happy to hear other dogs.
Mm-hmm. And my dogs can be loud, as they just showed. And also, so both Super and Kigo Rogers suspect $350 to $400 million. Worldwide, I could see a world where that could happen. However, I think they already are, they're going to market the crap out of this movie. The fact that just like 2 days ago, and I shared this on Twitter, I got a notification that tickets had already gone on sale, tells me that they are going to try, and of course, the narrative is going to come out, oh my god, it's outpacing Black Panther, oh my god, it set a new record, and they're going to try and spin it as, as best they can. But at the end of the day, I think that there's definitely a ceiling for the film, and I think because of the fact that it's only going to have a month window to make its money, I think that, because a lot of films, as I've mentioned this in videos before, most movies, most blockbusters make around 60% of their entire total in the first 2 weeks. One major exception to that, which is actually, I cannot wait until Aquaman is out of theaters, because that movie has just like flied in the face of reason as far as, one, how well it's doing, and two, like how much it's made overall, because it's basically the little engine that could, because it had a modest opening. It didn't break any records. It wasn't anything crazy. But the best thing about it was that the drop from week to week has been so small that it just keeps making money. And that's what's been really cool to see with Aquaman, because it's already probably by the end of the week going to pass $1 billion, and it hasn't even opened in Japan yet. And that's going to be probably another maybe, what, 100 million, maybe, depending on how well it does there.
Well, you know, the truth is it's because Steph and Tina keep going and seeing the movie 6 times a day. Shout out to the Valkyries because they are awesome. Love you, girls.
And we all know that they have the hots for Jason Momoa. So we all know that they love going to see them some Aquaman. And Tina said, I thought Soilo outpaced Black Panther in pre-sales too. I think they said it did, and of course it just doesn't, you know, it just doesn't work. Spidey Flash, I have not opened it yet, but I will. Will Gentry says, oh, and that's why they are releasing them a month apart, so that if Captain Marvel makes no money, they can use the, oh, it was only out for a month argument. And that is my speculation. It's totally conspiracy theory at this point, because there is no actual evidence other than the actual dates themselves. But I think it makes sense. I really do. And I just want to check a number really quick, because, let's see, Japan gave, maybe won't. Batman v Superman in Japan made 16 million, so maybe 100 million is a little much, maybe a little much. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I mean, in a world that makes no sense, it makes sense. So, you know, I mean, we're talking numbers, and it's gonna depend on all the markets, of course.
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, they have a chance of making money. I just feel the same way you do. It's kind of the same as what, you know, Ryan Roundhead Hasno Johnson did. Oh, I want to split, you know, the group up so that half like it and half hate it. Okay, yeah. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to make this movie, but a month later we're going to drop the big bombshell everybody's been waiting to see, so nobody goes and sees the movie.
Yeah.
So to me, it's almost the same thing. Instead of just making a whole, you know, they're going to make money, but they're not going to make as much if the movie's as good as it could be.
Yeah.
By putting it with Endgame, you know, a month away. So yeah, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I do as well. And also, I'm glad that you brought up Ryan Johnson, because their article that I reviewed today from Screen Rant is really fascinating, because basically what it makes you realize, and of course this news had already broken by this point, but I don't think it was ever given in proper context, that when they started filming The Force Awakens, they had already started, like, basically that Ryan Johnson was asked to start writing his movie before The Force Awakens. And so some people speculated that that's the reason why certain things happened in The Force Awakens. However, I think and suspect something is a little bit differently. I think that what that shows is it proves without a doubt that Kathleen Kennedy is incompetent. Because if she is having a new trilogy being made, and J.J. Abrams is taking on the first project of that, and she's asking another director and writer to write a different film with just bits and pieces of information, that it makes total sense then why The Last Jedi was The Last Jedi. So I think it's almost even less now on Ryan Johnson as far as, like, fault goes, and more so on Kathleen Kennedy, who said, oh no, go ahead and write your movie, even though this one's not finished yet. Go ahead and start writing it. And I wonder how much of it is actually Kathleen Kennedy's fault. And it's interesting because that article that I mentioned, that I read through today and I did a video on, made not a single mention of Kathleen Kennedy. What are your thoughts on that? Shawhan, you still there? Adam! Oh, Adam is muted for a second, so I will go ahead and read the chat. Greta says, Willow! I know, she's so cute when she lays down. Spidey Flash says, it's a link to article about DC Comics introducing Jesus as a character in a comic series that is going to be called Second Coming. What? Why are they making cartoon Jesus? There's no reason to make cartoon Jesus. Adam Shahan says, be right back. Gotta check on Nate. Sounds good, man. Thank you for letting me know in the actual chat. It's Inception, everybody. Dear Lord. Perth Comics says, Lucasfilm needed a 10 to 100-year plan for Star Wars. It didn't even need that much. As long as it had somebody who was at least going to be able to, in their mind, say, this is my vision for Star Wars, and this is how it's going to be, you could have easily released a film every single year. Like, that was the plan, was to have an episodic film every year, and then to have a solo story, to have an independent story, 6 months after. And it very well could have worked. I mean, just look at the fact that you had The Force Awakens that made a crap ton of money, made $2 billion, and then you had Rogue One, made $1 billion. So it was working, but the reason why is because those were the first fruits. It wasn't until The Last Jedi came out that you started to realize, oh, this woman who's running things has no skills in forward thinking. And it was at that moment that you realize, oh, this franchise is screwed, because you can't have someone write a script and write a story for the sequel to a movie that isn't even finished yet without there being some major problems. So, Adam, I think you're back. Are you back?
Yes, sir.
All right, great.
Yes, sir.
So I was going to ask, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that it might be less fault to Rian Johnson and more fault to Kathleen Kennedy, seeing that he was asked to start writing the story before Force Awakens was even finished?
Well, I feel that Ryan Roundhead Hasno Johnson was paid and bought for to do what he did. Me personally, it was Kathleen that let JJ go. I think we would have had a way better film if JJ did all three. I wasn't a big fan of The Force Awakens only because of the fact none of this to me matters, because it was not from Lucas. It's a fan film.
Yeah.
There are bits and pieces in all these movies that you can enjoy, but as we've all discussed before, all right, you start with Force Awakens, it sets stuff up. Then we jump into this. Okay, he could have started writing it before Force Awakens was done, but he could have also then that could have just been a draft. And then he could have switched it, and worked together, where I feel it was just a big FU game to all of us. And here's what we're going to do. And if you don't like it, we don't care.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people to blame at this. I think it goes farther than just Kathleen Kennedy. Iger could have said, no, we're not doing this. He let it go. He is the top dog. Haha, pun intended. But, that's just, once again, that's just my feelings on it. I feel that we deserved better. Star Wars Theory film is the Star Wars we deserved versus what we have gotten. But I am buckled in and ready for this train wreck to see how it ends. That is the most important thing to me. Honestly, we all came together because of our dislike of what they did with the franchise. That's how all of us, so many of us in the community, found each other, all the way from Australia to, I'm in Indiana. There's people in Florida, people that never would have met, California, so on and so forth. Until this happened, none of us would have ever met. And it was the dislike of this movie. So the way I look at it, it's a bad movie, but if you go back and watch any movie, you can find something to complain about. But to me, the positives are we all found each other, and we are not happy being attacked by all these people from Disney, including Hasno Johnson. If they would have just been like, hey, sorry, you don't like it. Oh, well, but no, they attacked us. That's where it went beyond.
Yeah.
And you can make up excuses after the fact. Is any of this really true? Do we know? Is there really any proof? No, there's not. We're never going to really know.
Yeah.
All we know is we're upset. And as Doomcock says, stay angry, my friend.
And I mean, that's what we're going to, at this point, because you have people like Rian Johnson that just keep on feeding the fire. And Star Wars Celebration is right around the corner, and I think that is going to be a huge event. That, to me, is going to tell us a lot about the future of Star Wars, depending on who shows up, who speaks, and what they decide to do as far as reveal Episode 9 material, Mandalorian material. I think, to be honest, one of the best things that they could possibly do for Star Wars Celebration is have two people featured as speakers, and that is Dave Filoni to talk about the new season of the Clone Wars, and to have Jon Favreau come to talk about The Mandalorian. If you have those two as the headliners, as the ones who are going to be the main people talking, I think that would be the best move for them. You can have JJ in there. I think that JJ would be fine as long as he's talking about the movie. The worst thing that they could possibly do is bring Kathleen Kennedy or Rian Johnson out there, because you'll have audible boos at that point if those people come out. And Super made a comment about a producer saying, "My mind can't comprehend a producer being that incompetent. Personally, I think they gave Rian Johnson the basic outline of The Force Awakens so he could start writing, because they knew he was slow and it was his weakness." That is a good point, Super, because he has admitted that he's a very slow writer, and he's not a good, he even admits that he's not that good of a writer either. So I think that there's definitely some split blame at the very least, seeing that she trusted Rian Johnson enough to say, oh, here's the incomplete product, go ahead and do something with it. And then when obviously she had to have read the script, she had to have read the screenplay, you would think. However, at this point, I would even doubt that much. You know, it would be interesting to see, because obviously, you're right, we're probably never going to find out the truth unless someone on the inside cracks, which I just don't really see happening, because I'm sure that they've been paid very well at this point. And just to also give you a little bit of insight as well, when talking about, we were going back to those domestic totals. So the reason also why $650 million is not realistic is because that would make it the third highest grossing film domestically, at least if you adjust for ticket price inflation. If you were to take the numbers as is, it would still also be the third highest domestic gross total, edging out the first Avengers film, Age of Ultron, Iron Man 3, Civil War, Guardians 2, etc. And I just don't see it. Looking at these numbers, I think, seeing that this is going to be, at least what it seems, it should be, in essence, more of a Guardians type film, because it's dealing a lot with different planets, aliens, etc. So to me, that seems to be a good indicator of what this film likely will do domestically. And Guardians 2 made $389, Guardians 1 made $333 million domestically. So that seems to me more likely of a situation of it making that much, in which case, if it is indeed that much, then the film very likely will tap out before $1 billion. That seems to make the most sense to me. What do you think about that, Adam, as far as where you think it's going to line up with? So just give you some numbers. Black Panther was $700 million domestically. Infinity War was $678. Avengers 1 was $623. And then Ultron was $459. Do you think that it's going to fall anywhere up there domestically, or do you think it's going to be lower?
I mean, with everybody being pissed, probably a little lower.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
Just because there's so... Okay, look at your average moviegoer that is now so turned off by what's on TV and movies anymore. You know, people are just like, I'm not going to give my money to be yelled at all the time and be told that I'm a Nazi, some sort of ism, just because I don't like a movie.
Yeah.
You know, their products have gone downhill when it comes to people buying them because everybody's tired of it. You still have some people that still buy things, but I don't think the collectors are buying anywhere near like they used to. I mean, we've had proof of that. It's little kids, parents with little kids that are still buying stuff for them because they might like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sales have gone down. The movies have gone down. So yeah, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. And Laura made a great comment saying, Odin, can I go all prices right and bet the movie will make $1? Yes, you can.
Yes, you
and
can.
if it makes less than that, then you will be indeed the winner there. But yeah, so as far as the final number for Captain Marvel, I see it tapping out before $1 billion, and I suspect it's going to be between the $450 and $850 million range, because it really, again, depends on how ticked off people are. And also, if Brie Larson can shut up, then it's going to do better. If she keeps talking and she keeps trying to bring in some kind of political messaging to the movie, then it's going to hurt the film. I mean, that's just poison and it's a way to drive fans away. That's what we've seen happen with Star Wars, and that's the reason why the Solo just lost so much money at the very end of it, was because of that reason. So they would be very smart to do that. I see a lot of people putting in predictions for Episode 9, which we'll get into in a second, but I just want to make sure that I get some of these chats. So Tina says to us that I hear the name Star Wars and I swear under my breath. Dr. Richard Kimball says, you need staff members named Baldur and Ymir to round out the Norse theme. I like that. That sounds good. Yes, Laura, you did see me smiling. Laura says, if everyone else goes over, I win both showcases. Damn right you do. Damn right you do. Man, I miss me some Price is Right. That was a great show. Spidey Flash says, the only Star Wars stuff I collected this year was custom-made items and the Clone Wars pops. Yeah, and I think that's exactly what Adam was getting at, was that no one is buying the merchandise. Some of the really, like, amazing images that have come out of Twitter recently have been all of the sales, where I think there was, like, a 50-cent Rose Tico. I think it was as low as 50 cents, like, on, you know, basically they're trying to get it off the shelf because it's taking up space. And the only thing that was sold out, Jeremy showed this on his channel, the only thing that was sold out were lightsabers, which obviously makes sense because kids love lightsabers, which is something that, you know, Disney could learn a lot about. But when talking about moving into the Star Wars numbers, this is going to be interesting. Obviously, let's go to the adjusted for inflation prices. So if you adjust for inflation, and again, these are all domestic totals from what I'm seeing. And let me just double check that because I don't want to set you guys astray. Yes, this is the domestic totals. So domestic totals, Star Wars, the first one, actually is the highest grossing. Surprisingly, I thought it would have been Force Awakens. But the first Star Wars, when adjusted for inflation, made $1.2 billion domestically, which is insane. I didn't think it was that high, but, you know, inflation is an amazing thing, too. So the next one would be The Force Awakens with $954 million. Episode 1... Phantom Menace, 749, and then Return of the Jedi, 715, Empire Strikes Back, 696, and then coming in at number 6 is The Last Jedi at 596.8 million. So, Adam, where do you think that Episode 9 is going to fall on the domestic scale? Do you think it's going to make more than The Last Jedi? Do you think it's going to make, you know, crap ton domestically, or do you think
it'll do better than Solo only because there are so many people that are still going to see it? I mean, no matter what, they've still made money. They're just not making the kind of money they should be making. And if I was a part of that business, I would be very irate because to just throw that much money away for no reason other than, you know, because he can, it's insanity. And you're talking to a guy with a 6-foot mannequin in his office. So, you know, might know a little bit about that. But all joking aside, I mean, no, I don't. I think it's going to probably stay right about the same as The Last Jedi. I don't really see it making way more. I guess, well, I mean, you know, strap in, boys and girls. We're going to find out here in, you know, a couple in a little while here in another 11 months. But I don't really see it booming like what it should have done. It's not gonna do Jedi numbers, Return of the Jedi rather. It definitely I feel will probably do better than Solo did.
Well, here's the thing, it's almost impossible for it not to do as well or better than Solo, because Solo just did so abysmal. It made 201 million domestically and then made only another like 198 million or even less than that worldwide. It tanked worldwide. And Episode 9 I could see doing much better than Solo did worldwide, just because it's going to be a massive movie. They've obviously had a long time now at this point, a couple of years really, to boost up the marketing for it and really try and get in those foreign markets especially. So I think it definitely will outperform Solo. But the question really is going to be, where does it stand in the grand scheme of things? Is it going to match The Force Awakens? I don't see it. The Force Awakens was a phenomenon. I mean, The Force Awakens was a phenomenon. I mean, it had been years since Star Wars, and people were ready for something new. We're ready for something. We're also ready for something amazing, too, with new effects and everything, even with the original characters. And so that's why it made nearly $1 billion here and well over $1 billion overseas. But then you get into The Last Jedi, which made about half of that domestically, you know, maybe a little bit more than half. And the question is going to be, where does it stand? The real question is, where is it going to stand next to The Last Jedi? Not so much where it stands next to The Force Awakens, because we already know if anyone says it's going to get close to Force Awakens numbers, they're crazy, and I will call them out as crazy as such. But
no, I have to agree.
Yeah,
you're right.
But Last Jedi is at the very least tenable by the very fact that 1.3 billion, while it might seem like a big number, when you take into account, and let me just do some quick math for you guys. I know you guys love math. Don't you lie. Don't you tell me that you don't like when I do math live on air. I'm going to work out the actual budget that it actually costs, because here's the other thing too, is that we hear $1.3 billion and we think to ourselves, oh, that means that the studio made $1.3 billion, right? No, that is not the case. So the budget for the film, according to Wikipedia, which of course, as we all know, is a very reliable source, was $225 million. Yes, it cost them $225 million to make that piece of garbage known as The Last Jedi. Half of that, or rather add half of that number, and that's how you get the total cost, because they usually will spend half of the production cost on, in addition to the production costs on marketing. So half of 225, let's see, that would be about 160-ish. So that means the total would be around $380 million total, the film cost. It made $1.3 billion. It only gets 60% of that, meaning that it made about $600 million in total, $700 million total, which means it made a profit. It made a couple hundred million dollars in profit, but it's not like this huge profitable thing that people thought it. Like, again, 1.3 is not as or rather 600 million is not as impressive as 1.3 billion, which is about what it would end up being. So I know Soul Assassin says math makes my head hurt. I'm sorry that I made you do that math, and yet somehow, some way, people are enjoying it. Hold on, Laura says, don't assume these extremists care about making movies that make money. It's about the message. That's a true statement. I mean, if they cared about ratings, they would stop talking about Donald Trump, and they would stop talking about politics at the Golden Globes and the Oscars, yet they still do it, and they continue to lose ratings. But yeah, did I hurt your head with all that math, Adam?
No, because in Hollywood, they will spend millions to make thousands. But with Star Wars, they're making money because, I mean, it's Disney. Look at what all they're tied in with. So it's not like it's a small company.
Oh, yeah.
So no matter what, they're making money, but they're not making the kind of money they should be making by any means.
Yeah.
The Force Effects lightsabers, they are awesome. Yes, the sabers are. The problem is, you're not going to go spend almost $200 on a kid. Those are a collector's item. You saw mine. You know I've got them all because, hey, fan. But I'm not a fan of the newer, trilogy at all. But once again, I'm a Lucas fan. I enjoyed what George did. Even the prequels were fine in my book. You go to this stuff, and that was the whole thing. Force Awakens made what it made because we had not had Star Wars in so long that it was the member berries. I remember this. I remember that,
Yeah.
But people were excited because we're thinking, hey, Disney bought it. Let's see what they can do for all the prequel haters. It's got to be better than the prequels. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's not. When we got, if we would have had a solid Last Jedi movie with a good storyline that wasn't garbage, it would have made 2-3 times what it did, especially if everything would have, lined up like it should have.
Yeah.
It's set up. Boom. Now we got another movie that makes no sense. And now we're going to have an ending that we have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless the movie is only like 10 minutes long, I don't care. I've said it before. I want to see it be a Force vision, whether Luke's meditating or whatever, and we go right back to the Force Awakens where Rey hands him, his father's lightsaber, and he lights it up. It cuts her in half, goes and kills Snoke, goes and kills Kylo, takes it, drops it like a mic drop, says, "This is for the fans. We're sorry we screwed up. Have a nice day."
That would now. If only, man. Oh, if only dreams could come true.
But I mean, there was talks, and I'm sorry, it's escaping me who I was on with, and we were discussing this.
Yeah.
They were talking EU, or they were talking about the Sky. It might have been you. I was watching and listening to. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But why are they killing off the Skywalker line? Because then it kills the EU. It makes the EU not even valid anymore. It's no longer canon, in my opinion. And there is a lot of stories from the EU that were really good. Lethal Lightning would be the one to have on here talking about EU stuff because the boy knows his EU. But we went that long time frame from when Return of the Jedi ended before the prequels, and we had the EU that was born from that, and from that we got the prequels because everybody was like, "Hey, we want more Star Wars. We want more Star Wars."
Yeah.
And then a company as big as Disney, this is what they do with it. It's a shame, man.
No,
Just a shame.
No, absolutely, absolutely right, man. And couldn't have said it better myself. And I'm looking at some of these comments. So speaking of box office flops and losing money, and you, Adam, you were the one that mentioned saying they don't care much about making money. They care more about a message. And Perth Comics said a great comment. He said, "Look at A Wrinkle in Time. That was an expensive message." And if you want to talk about movies that were made for a message, A Wrinkle in Time is a perfect example. If you know anything about the books, you know that the author was Christian, and that the author put a lot of Christian elements into the book, and that the lead character is a red-headed girl. Ava DuVernay gets the project and makes the conscious decision to say, "No, I'm not going to respect the source material. She's going to be a mixed-race black girl, and that's where we're going to start." And she made it very clear that she didn't care about adapting the source material, but rather she wanted to try and make it as diverse a film as possible. Like, she's gone on record saying that she literally did her casting to make it diverse. If she had only spent as that much effort trying to tell a good story and trying to make a good film, because that film was made for a budget of around $115 million, meaning it cost around 150 plus in order to make it and also to market it as well. Though, of course, Disney, I think, overmarkets sometimes, so it might even be more than that. And that film only made $137.2 million, which, if you take 60% of that, means that the film lost almost close to $100 million at the box office. It was, I think, the second or third highest box office bomb of the year when I did my top 5 box office bombs list. Obviously, that doesn't touch Solo, but that's because Solo had to be reshot on top of everything else. And the whole story that you heard for the film, though, before it actually came out was, oh my God, this is the first film, the first live-action film that has a nine-digit budget that's going to be directed by a woman of color. And that is what they thought was going to sell. They said diversity sells, and this is going to be our proof. As soon as the movie came out, not a single person said anything about it. Everyone, because it was so bad, it was so poorly made, everyone was just like, oh, it was bad. It's really sad. Or they would say, oh, it was a beautiful mess. Basically, they tried to spin it in a positive direction, even though they gave it a negative review. But you never heard them talk again about the diversity or anything else, because if they did, then it would prove without a doubt that if you make a film for diversity's sake, you're gonna fail, because the last thing anyone wants is to be preached to. And also, as we all know at this point, SJW, NPC identity politics nonsense does not sell. It does not make money at the box office. And case in point, and thank you very much, Perth Comics, for pointing it out once again, is A Wrinkle in Time, because that is exactly what they did. Let's see. Super says, and then when they realized they're going downhill and running out of options, they announced Popular Film Award to relate to us plebes. Talking about the Oscars there. Oh God, I remember when that came out. Do you remember when the Oscars announced that they were until they took it away altogether, that they were bringing a popular film Oscar? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that just helped.
I called it the Black Panther Award because I was there's only one reason why they're bringing. Now, to be fair, they've been planning it for a while, but let's just be honest. The reason why they actually gave it any consideration this year is because, we have to give an Oscar to Black Panther because Black Panther has a bunch of woke people surrounding it, and we need people to watch us. And then
Here's
they're
your
just
participation award.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was going to be. It was going to be a participation award. And thank God there was enough backlash, not just from people like us, but also even from like the snooty like Hollywood elites that were like, ugh, a popular film award. Ugh, it's disgusting. And it was just hilarious to see their response to it. But eventually they took it away. And now they're just going to give a nomination to it anyway. They're going to say, oh, well, it might not win, but we're going to nominate it for Best Picture, even though The Dark Knight never got a nomination, because if any movie deserves to be the first major superhero film to get a nomination for Best Picture, it's Black Panther, said no one ever.
Well, they don't call it Hollyweird for nothing, sir.
And that is definitely a true statement. And then Super follows up. Forgot to ask you earlier. You said Solo cost $225 million to make. Is that the official number after Ron Howard reshoots? No. After the Ron Howard reshoots, when you add in marketing, it gets closer to $350 to $400 million that it costs just to make the film. The film barely made $400 million. It only gets 60% of that, which is why I got that number of around $200 million that it lost. So some people come up with some other crazy numbers and say, oh, it actually lost $400 million. And I'm like, no. Let's not, like, let's be honest here. It lost money. It lost a lot, but it didn't lose $400 million because the money and math just do not work for that. Potterheads says, you think Disney would be as successful if there were more competitors like Pixar, and if they didn't own everything? They wouldn't be able to push agendas and actually care about story arcs and fans. I think that's a good point. What do you think about that, Potterheads? Do you think that one thing that might help Disney films is if there was actual competition against them?
I think competition would be good, but then again, this is why they're able to do what they do, because they're so large, because they are an empire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we went from its small beginnings of what Disney was to this, you know, I call it the evil mouse. Now, you know, evil Emperor Mouse, Bob Iger. But yeah, allegedly. But yeah, no, it's, you know, disclaimer. No, it literally though, to me, you know, we used to have, I think it's a bigger problem than that. People used to think, they used to actually write scripts and care. Nowadays, it's all about only pushing an agenda. And then if you don't agree with that, then you're the evil one. You're the, you know, it's all your fault. That's why this didn't work, because you didn't like it. It's all Odin's fault. It's all Odin's, you know, it's all Odin's followers' fault because he's telling them not to do something when those words have never come out of this young man's mouth. You know, it's no different than, you know, Jeff Hicks getting blamed for stuff when he's one of the same people that say, he's not saying don't go see the movies. He's like, hey, make your own opinion. I will go see it. I will let you know how I feel. If you want to see it, go ahead and go do it. But to me, this sucks. This didn't. So on and so forth.
Yep.
It's called debating, people. We used to be able to debate. Nowadays, oh my goodness, you're a Nazi. You're the worst person in the room because you don't agree with me. I mean, it's literally the Sith way of life, it seems.
It's true.
From
It really
a Star
is.
Wars point of view.
It's a very good point. It's just like tonight, like at 8 o'clock, you got Donald Trump speaking, and everyone's like, oh my God, we can't let him speak. Oh my God, he might convince people. And it's just one of those things where you're like, why can't you just let the man talk, and then if he's wrong, you can respond to him, and then you can, you know, have a dialogue with people saying, well, he said this, but here's the actual truth. Or maybe you'll say, oh, he's actually right about this, but here's what I think. Like, no one, as you said, no one wants to have discussions anymore. And I tell this to my kids all the time. Like, if you want to know the state of our country, look at the state of our media. If you can't look at the fact that, you know, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, all of them, like every single one of them does the same thing. Do they care more about telling you the news? Do they care more about telling you what's going on in the world? Or do they care more about getting your eyeballs onto the screen? Meaning that they will do anything and say anything in order to get your attention, which is why you don't ever really see dialogue happen and conversation happen on screen. You instead see fighting, back and forth. And that's the perception that we have of what reality is and therefore how we should act. And it's really sad because there are a lot of people who are being raised under that mindset because they say, oh, wait a minute, that's what's going on screen, so therefore that's how I need to interact. You know, the people who are on the left watching MSNBC, seeing, you know, all of them go crazy, they think, oh, that's how it's normal to act. All the conservatives watching Fox News see what they do and then say, oh, well, that's what is normal to act. When in reality, I'm here somewhere in the middle, and I'm just like, hey, I just like having good conversations, but if you go crazy, I'm going to call you out on your crazy.
Well, it's a Jerry Springer news anymore, you know.
Oh, God, it is, yeah.
And here's the thing about politics. It doesn't matter left, right. They're all insane.
They are.
You know, I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you, but they're all nuts because the owners of this world don't care about you. They want you to work and pay taxes so that they can live the lap of luxury they live. And then now, instead of having an escape such as an arcade or a movie theater, we can go and escape from all of this crap. It's now on the big screen. You can't watch TV without seeing it. You can't go to the movies without seeing it. And then what are you left with? Can you pick up the newspaper? No, sir, you can't. You know, it's everywhere. 24/7.
Can you go see a Star Wars movie? No, because now they're taking that over too. And I mentioned this before in a video saying it's interesting how instead of creating their own characters, their own original characters with this identity politics, what are they doing instead? They're taking over major brands because they realize, oh, this is how we get the most eyes on it, even though it's going to destroy the brand. Like you see it happen with, I've been watching some Nerdrotic lately. You see it happen with Doctor Who. Doctor Who has gone full SJW, and guess what's happening? The show is getting slowly destroyed because they wanted to get the message out there to as many people as possible, but guess what? People don't like watching it because people don't want to watch a show that's a fantasy that makes references to Brexit. If I'm in the UK and I'm tired of the Brexit conversation, the last thing that I need is for Doctor Who telling me how I should feel about this political matter. Same thing with us in Star Wars, because now that's happening with Star Wars. It's happening with pretty much every single property. And it's one of those things where, no, I don't want to see a casino planet. We have those here. I want to see something that I've never seen before in a galaxy far, far away. Guess what? It's supposed to be a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. You can give us some things that are different and new and original, but instead they would rather make political commentary. And it's sad because, as you said, there's no escape anymore. And as I've mentioned before, I mentioned this on the first episode that I did for the podcast for the patrons, that my love of movies mostly came from escapism. I mean, it was a major part of where films come from. Films originally were meant for escapism. You would literally get lost in these worlds. You would literally look up at the big screen and you would just think to yourself, God, that's awesome. That's so cool. And nowadays, you can't even do that. Not only because what you see on screen is bad, but also because now you've had this generation upon generation of people being raised as just idiots and troglodytes who get on their damn cell phones and shine the light and talk to their friends, etc. in the theater, and you can't even enjoy your time there. You can't even escape anymore. It's ridiculous. Doctor Who equals Dr. Woke, says Stephanie. Yes,
well,
Perth.
The problem is, even... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yes, Perth. I also recommend Gary of Nerdrotic as well. He makes good stuff. Continue, Adam.
Yes, hail, Gary.
Yes.
The problem is, even if you do get away from the I'm sorry, ass clowns in the theater that are doing that, you're still stuck with crappy stories that are filled with nothing but hate if you don't feel the way that they do. I mean, this goes back to the Great Depression, you know, back in 1929, when people would go to the theater to escape the crappy life they were living, which is way worse than what these little millennials complain about today. They don't know what real pain is. And, you know, you were lucky enough if all the kids on the block, you know, I've heard these stories, and, you know, y'all can fact check this. No, I'm not that old, but still, I do know history, because, you know, they do say if you don't know it, you are doomed to repeat it, which we are repeating it in some part. But at some points, birthday parties were shared with families because they were so poor, and bobbing for apples and all that stuff was something that everybody could chip in and do. Movies were the same thing, man. You go in, and I think it was a nickel or a dime, and you could go in, you'd see a cartoon in a movie, and of course they were the silent film era, but still, it was to escape. And now we have nowhere to escape. I escape YouTube, you know, your channel and all the other ones that I'm a part of. That's my entertainment, because I refuse to pay the cable pig to tell me that I'm scum because I'm a white middle-aged male. And then according to Disney, I'm just a fat guy living in my mom's basement, which is the farthest from the truth. But, you know, just because I dislike what they've done to something I was raised on. I mean, life was Star Wars, man. I mean, a galaxy far, far away, something that was not seen. And I understand you kind of come from the prequel era, but you can't tell me those movies at a younger age.
Oh, at the time, I loved them. Absolutely. And I say that all the time. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a pod racer because it looked so damn cool to me. And then it wasn't until I was older that I was like, oh, when I understood what good dialogue is, I was like, oh, well, this movie didn't age nearly as well as I hoped it would. But at the same time, I say this all the time as well, even though in retrospect, I don't think that they're the best movies made, like as far as like overall quality and story, etc. At the very least, it's a coherent and consistent story, and all of the characters are consistent throughout the story as well. If there's one thing that George Lucas can do, it's build a world, and he did that very well. even though he couldn't write dialogue for crap. Because even if you go back to the original trilogy, some of the dialogue is not the greatest. However, I will still argue that it's better than anything in the prequels. But the world he built in the prequels is still absolutely fantastic. And that's one of the things that this new sequel trilogy just doesn't have. Yes, there are beautiful images that we see on screen, but is there really anything iconic other than them relying on the original characters? I just don't feel like we've experienced something really truly iconic at this point. The closest thing to it to me was the hyperspace ram. But then after you got like that image in your head saying, "Oh, that's such a cool image," and you actually thought about it, you're like, "Wait a minute. If they could just hyperspace ram, why haven't they done that in every single film and saved countless lives?" And you know, like, to me, it's like Kathleen Kennedy must have just been like, "That looks so cool. Let's keep it in." And there has to have been someone who said, "Well, it kind of breaks canon." I don't care. It looks gorgeous. Like, that's just, in my head, I want to say that's what happens. Anyway.
No, that sounds good, though.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I like it. I mean, that's as good as me saying how, you know, the reason Rey is so good at everything is because Rey is Kathleen Kennedy. At least in her little bubble, she is.
Written into the story as a character. Yes. Let's see. Laura says, TV and internet are out at my house. Best week ever. I can tell you this much, like, as connected as I am, because I am connected. I'm not going to deny that. Whenever there is a time when, you know, obviously at the first moment you realize that you're disconnected, it kind of sucks. But there comes a moment where you're like, wow, it's quiet. And it's like, it's calm, and it's like when the power goes out and you just sit there in the silence and you're like, this is awesome. Like, even if it's just for a second, it's something that if you've never experienced silence before, I recommend it. I used to go on silent retreats when I was in college, and it was some of the best experiences that I had because we would give up our phones. Oh my God, I know, right? Without my phone, any students watching, without my phone for 3 days, oh my gosh, it really isn't that bad once you actually do it. And it's liberating too, because these things in our hand, they're great technology, but they can also very much, very, very much be a giant chain around our necks holding us down and holding us back. Dr. Richard Kimball says, they destroy movies, video games, comic books, TV shows, card games, and now our education in schools. We won't have anything left that isn't SJW NPC. That is extremely true. Will Gentry says, don't get me started on Doctor Who. You're looking at a lifelong fan who literally can't watch it now. So frustrating. That is frustrating because I got into it late. I rewatched the series from the Eccleston era. And I still stand by that. I love the Eccleston Doctor Who character, and I think that David Tennant's character would not exist as it was without Eccleston, because to me, David Tennant basically took the same spirit that Eccleston had provided and then took his own spin with it. So I do like David Tennant, but I also still think that he kind of stole a little bit from Eccleston. And then the Matt Smith era I really like, and even the Peter Capaldi era. There were some brilliant episodes that were written during that era as well, but that was the era that it really started to dance on that line. And then I haven't watched any of the new stuff, but from what I've heard, I've been watching a lot of Mecha Random. So huge shout out to Mecha Random because she's awesome. And she has done a lot of coverage on a lot of this, you know, nonsense. And it's really sad. And Nerdrotic, of course, as well.
Well, that's what I love about YouTube, man.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch the stuff. Sorry to interrupt again. But you can watch the stuff from the people on YouTube because we're all such a good community. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to watch it. You know.
Yep. No, it's absolutely true. Let's see. It looks like someone had... Let's see. Laura says, great stream tonight. Gotta go. Thanks for being on, Adam. So, Adam, you want to say any final words to Laura?
Yes. Thank you, Laura. It's always fun getting to talk with you on the Discord. Thanks for jumping in. We love your comments. Always a blast when you're here with us. Have a great night.
Yes, you have a great night, Laura. Thank you so much for being here. And also, thank you for being a patron member as well. I really always appreciate you. Let's see. Steph says, we did that too. I love silent retreats. Oh my God. Silent retreats are amazing. Even if you're not Catholic, if there's anything that allows you to like get away in nature for like a couple of days and you get to just totally detox from technology, it is really nice. Ostensor Mortem says, Men in Black 4 is going to be the new Ghostbusters 2016. I don't agree. I don't agree. And I might be one of the few people out there. I liked the Men in Black 4 trailer. I thought Men in Black International looks like fun. And the reason why is because I'm a huge fan of Thor Ragnarok. And the fact that we get to see those two on screen together again, they have great chemistry with each other in Tessa Thompson and I'm blanking on his name right now. Who plays Thor? Adam, this is where you're supposed to help. Damn it.
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth. There, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm sure you didn't read the chat.
I was going to say it, but I was dying laughing because you stopped. You go, this is where you're supposed to help in, and I couldn't help but laugh. I had the name, but I'm just like, oh my goodness, I have to laugh. I'm sorry, but yes.
But anyway, so Chris Hemsworth, thank you, chat. I appreciate you. So they have great chemistry in Thor Ragnarok, and so because of that, and the fact that they're both the leads in it, and you also have Liam Neeson as like the aged and expert Men in Black agent, I think it could be a lot of fun. And even though I still stand by that it doesn't need to exist, because it doesn't. We've had enough. We don't need any more movies. The only positive thing I will say about this, as far as it being a sequel, is that it looks like it's just it's trying to reboot. Now, some people might say, okay, that's what Ghostbusters 2016 tried to do. The difference is that Ghostbusters 2016 had a very blatant agenda to it. Men in Black isn't really having that much of an agenda because guess what? There have been Men in Black female agents before, so that's nothing new. There have been various races, alien and human, that have been Men in Black agents as well. I mean, need you not forget that Will Smith was a Men in Black agent. And during the end of the first movie, the woman who was the doctor became a Men in Black agent. So there really isn't anything like, to me, that screams SJW NPC at this point, because it's just very normal for that universe at the very least. And as I said, I really do think that they work well together. Red Storm Firefighter says, of course, Odin loves Thor Ragnarok. His name is Odin, which is Thor's dad's name. It's more than that, man. It's just a fun... Taika Waititi is just a fun director, though. That's the reason why I like it, because he's...
No, that's a good movie, though. It's real good. As for... this shows how far off I am. I didn't even realize they were doing a fourth one.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, to me, I think it's great, because if there's a good storyline, that's all we need. Because look at how many different agents there were. There were men, there were women, there were aliens. I mean, Michael Jackson. Come on. Yes. Come on, people. I mean, come on. This is sci-fi at its best. Yeah. And you shouldn't have to have Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith just to make it keep going on. There were so many other agents. Why not? Yeah. I mean, now the difference with the Ghostbusters was, they're all women. They're bite me.
Yeah.
This sounds like it could be very, very good. I've not seen the trailer, so now I know what I'm.
Yeah, I would check it. Yeah, I would check it out, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Because again, is it going to be good? Who knows at this point? I think the trailer is still way too early to tell. But overall, I was like, I like this cast. But just because you like a cast doesn't always mean that it's going to be a good movie. So
give me a good storyline. Something that's wrote well, and a little bit of CGI in there, and it could be, definitely better than Solo.
Oh. I mean, at this point, if it can at least be better than The Last Jedi, which is, a very low bar to pass up, I think that will be fine. Red Storm, all right, I got that one already. Super says, I haven't even seen Men in Black, don't kill me, and I think it looks good. Not only does it look fun, but even if the script turns out weak, the cast is good, so their chemistry will make it work. And that's exactly where I stand, too. I think that the cast will probably make it work. That does not guarantee anything, because there are plenty of movies that had amazing casts that ended up not doing anything. But at the same time, I have a lot of high hopes for it. And Soul Assassin asked a very good question, which, Adam, I'm going to pose to you first. The Battle of the Chris's. Who is your favorite Chris? Hemsworth, Pratt, or Evans?
Oh, I hate Chris Evans, so you can take him right off the list.
Okay.
Captain Commie there. No. I mean, Pratt, I don't really know him from a lot other than Guardians. Yeah. And I thought he did a great job there. And then same with Hemsworth. I mean, he was in Red Dawn. I saw him in that, right? That's Red Hemsworth's brother, right?
Yes.
The Red Dawn remake? Okay.
Yeah,
and then he was in the Vacation movie remake as well, correct?
I never saw it, so.
Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't want to get them mixed up. But yeah, just based off of that, then I'm going to have to go with Chris Hemsworth, because I've seen him in more movies than I have Chris Pratt. I do remember Fat Pratt. Yeah. He was hilarious. But yeah, I'll
mean,
go with.
Hemsworth. Hemsworth. You're going with Thor there, so it's kind of
right.
Yeah, for me, if man, I would say as far as character. Oh no, because even then, oh my god, because personally, Chris Pratt, because Chris Pratt is very vocal about his faith, and that just always endears me to a person, especially in Hollywood, because it's such a rare thing, and he gets a lot of heat for it. So I have mad respect for him for being outspoken about that. One of the greatest, if you want to see a great video, Chris Pratt reads at Disney World the gospel, like the infancy gospel at Christmas time. And to me, it was one of those things where it's like, I never thought I'd see that at Disney World. Like, never. But because Chris Pratt is a part of the community, because Chris Pratt is Christian, he must have worked something out, because it was just absolutely beautiful. Maybe they do it all the time. I don't know, but it was awesome to see Chris Pratt doing that. However, oh man, I would say if Infinity War had not come out, I would have said Chris Pratt, because I love Star-Lord. I think that character is just fantastic, and Chris Pratt plays that character perfectly. But then you had the Wakanda scene, where Chris Hemsworth comes flying in, kicking everyone's ass. And at that point, and Thor Ragnarok, I was already sold on his new take. Like, again, Thor was dying after The Dark World. Like, The Dark World just really, even though I liked it because, I'm biased towards it. God, I'm Odin, for God's sake. Even though I had that bias towards it, I still understood that it was a weak film, that it was the weakest of the films, and that the future did not look bright for Thor. Then you have Taika Waititi that just comes in there, changes the formula, makes Thor into a comedy, and it's brilliant, and it works. And it made me fall in love with Thor even more so already. If his abs weren't enough, his character was just added on when it came to Ragnarok, and then eventually, of course, his just badass fight scene all over the place in Wakanda in Infinity War, which just really was absolutely amazing. Let's see. Super says, I missed it. What did Chris Evans say that made him communist confirmed? He's just been very vocal as, a liberal Hollywood elitist. I don't have exact quotes from him, but, I do know that he's at least said that. Stencer says, Odin in the trailer actually says, I found you. I deserve to be in Men? What? Men in what? I'm very confused. Jagan75, hello. Reword that, a censor, and I'll read it again. Red Stormfire says, Odin, you're not truly Odin. You have two eyes instead of one. Poke one of them out. If we... All right.
Sorry, that's funny.
All right.
That's funny stuff.
All right, if we can hit... All right, guys. If we can hit 100,000 subscribers...
By tomorrow.
You know what? I'll give... By the end of January... On stream, I'll pull out my eye.
There you go. Well, you have to go with
someone's gonna
anyway.
hack it, and the numbers are gonna jump, and they're gonna say, "Hey, you promised! Hey, you promised!" And they'll play back. Yeah.
Well, look, you got to go with Helmsworth because he is an Aussie.
That's true,
and we
too.
do have Aussie fans.
I have all Aussie fans.
I think when we were talking characters, but as for human beings, I honestly feel. People do bond with you because you are a great host, you are a great guy. But I feel that Pratt, and I do believe that Helmsworth would also be just like talking with you. Yeah. Evans, I don't know. He's just kind of turned into a schmuck.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. I hear that. Hold on, I got some great comments coming in. But first, Kiko Rogers says, body goals for Odin, get a trainer, work out 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. Rhaegar Targaryen says, the bad thing about is now everyone will try and mimic Ragnarok and turn every hero into a circus show. You could see that, but to me, though, if they can do it well and it's well written, I might be okay. Let's see, Tina says, he's saying that Tessa found the Men in Black HQ, said she'd been looking for them, and that meant she had to be made a Men in Black. Yeah, but that doesn't bother me as much. Steph says, Lord. Daybob says, just get a patch, I won't tell. Tina says, Odin going to do, what's Odin going to do if it hits 100K? I fear the worst. Yeah, it's going to be scary if that happens. Tion, just wear the eye patch. Kigo Rogers, get a He-Man suit for your next live stream. Edward Coleman, the internet always wins. Say goodbye to your eye, Odin. I'll do so. I might not actually like. I'm not, guys. I'm not cutting my eye. But I mean, I would do something crazy. Like at 100,000.
I only have one eye. Try it. It's a lot of fun. And remember, people, he does have a PO box, so you could send him a He-Man suit.
That is true. You could send me an eye patch. You could send me a He-Man suit, or like last night's stream, you could just send me a crap ton of candy, and I would be happy. That would make me happy as a clam. And Ever Colvin then says the internet always wins. Oh yeah, sorry, City, goodbye. I got that one. Red Storm Fireside. I bet if Odin pokes one eye out, the stream will get demonetized, and the SJWs would say people poking their eyes out is racist.
Because you didn't pop your eye out enough. Or right.
Exactly.
So,
it's hateful.
Pop it out enough.
It's hateful. Doc Holliday says PewDiePie just put up a video, Odin's eye. That'd be awesome. Brad Noble says, and by the way, if someone could somehow get PewDiePie to shout me out, I would be like eternally grateful. Like, because that's like, PewDiePie is a legend, man. Brad Noble says, I bonded with Odin for his sexy body. Well, thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. Rhaegar, Men in Black, Ragnarok. Kika Rogers says, body by Hans and Franz. We will pump you up. I gotcha. Perth Comics, you can pop your eye and pop it back in. Yeah, I could watch a bunch of YouTube videos of people that do that, and then learn the trick of the trade. And then Red Storm Firefighter says, I bet the SJWs would try and ban Odin's eye from going to Disneyland. That's what we need next. Is we need a Odin's eye channel. That would be wonderful. That would be fantastic. All right, so Adam, I'm gonna start to slowly wrap things up. We still got a few minutes before High Council gets started. So I'm actually going to go to your questions because you took the time to ask them. So let me see what we got here. I
did the third one just specially for you.
All right,
That's
so
how well I know you.
all right. So the third question is, what musical that has not been made yet would you like to see, and is there one you would like to see remade? So are you saying a musical that I would like to see made into a movie?
So yeah, I mean, okay, and or even Broadway, because there's always musicals. It's kind of that various. I know how you love musicals, so I was kind of like, we've had good ones, we've had bad ones.
Yeah.
But what is one that has not been made even recently that you would love to see be made?
Like that's just the thing. Like, because all musicals that exist currently have been on Broadway at some point. So are you talking about an original musical, like something I would like to be turned into a musical?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm seeing in the chat a lot of people who are giving a lot of recommendations. Wicked is becoming a movie, and I'm very excited about that because there's a lot they could do with it. But movies that could be into a musical. Oh, man. That's a really good question. I personally... Oh, man.
You made me think, so this is what you
All
get.
right, I have an answer, and this is my final answer, and this is the only answer, everybody. And no, it's not Cats the movie. Jagan, get that crap out of here. Ugh, Cats. Ugh. Anyway, the best ever movie that could be made. It's, of course, a movie, because obviously it's a movie blog. The best movie that could ever be turned into a musical is a little independent film called The Room, starring Tommy Wiseau. Now, the only way this musical could work is if Tommy Wiseau is, once again, the lead in the movie, rather the lead in the show on Broadway. And therefore, we get to hear Tommy sing, or at least attempt to sing. Everyone else in the cast needs to be cast like every other character in the musical. Here's my vision. Every other character is made like by a professional actor and actress. Like, professional singers have every role. The only exception is Tommy Wiseau has to play Johnny, and just to see the cacophony of noise that would be any song that he has with Johnny, with Mark, his best friend, and Lisa, his only love, it would be amazing. Like, you could literally have the opening song, everyone is already doing it, The opening song is "Oh Hi Mark." Oh my God, yes! For anyone that's seen The Room, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and it would be the best musical ever. The Room musical needs to hit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh hi Mark. Yes. Let's make it happen, people. Let's make it happen. That's a great question. I'm very glad that I remembered The Room would be by far the best. Hamlet Shirt does say Three Amigos. That would be a pretty good one. Red Storm Fire says, Odin, you should get Tommy Wiseau on a live stream. If I could get Tommy Wiseau on a live stream, I'm sure I could give him $20 and he'd come on. But that would be a dream come true because that would just be so much fun. Anyway, Adam, are there any things that you would want to see turned into a musical?
I mean, you know, it's literally, I wrote this for you because I know enough about you from being on these streams. As for me, yeah. I think one that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to boo this, but I don't care. I want to see The Last Jedi into a musical because, hell, why not?
Only if it was made by someone from the Phantom Menace.
Yes.
Only if it was made by someone.
EBS, get them all together. You know, a little Doomcock in there. It's got to be done by the Phantom Menace. I mean, why not? You know, people might think it's nuts, but to me, it'd be hilarious.
That would be really funny. Oh my God, that would be fantastic. And also, I would just love to hear the song that could be written. And obviously, we already have our songwriter because EVS is going to write the whole score for this musical. And it's going to be fantastic. But I would love to hear the song that Luke sings to the cow by the sea.
Yes.
I think it would be
Yoda. We could have a solo by Yoda.
Yes.
And DJ D could do the voice of Yoda.
Oh my God, yes. That would be excellent. That would be perfect.
Well, you know, I mean, this is the stuff, people, that we do. For those of you that are newer to the channel, we have a lot of fun. And I am going to push on you to say, hey, look, if you can, check out the Patreon. You get so much extra content. That is how I am on here. I became a top tier patron. That's how I chose this episode. Kind of at the last minute, just because I didn't want Odin to go on alone, and he had such a long stream yesterday that was awesome. But yeah, it does help the channel out. You get to participate and have even more fun, because for the longest time I've been in the chat. A couple times he's brought patrons on, all of us together, and we've had a lot of fun. But this way you get one-on-one time with the great one, the All-Father, Odin.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, man. And speaking of patrons, I, of course, do need to shout out my patrons. And seriously, guys, if you want to support the channel, just by watching and dropping a like is definitely going to help. So thank you so much for that if you're able to do so. And just the time that you've dedicated to the stream. I mean, hour and a half is still precious time from your life, and so even if you can only give your time, I still greatly appreciate that. But if you can give a little bit more, as my patrons do, you do get some extra content. If you donate $1 at least a month, you can get your name shouted out every single live stream. You get access to the Discord, the patron only Discord channels, etc. So there's a lot of stuff there. $5 a month. You'll also, on top of that, get a podcast that will come out every single week as well. You also get to give me feedback on future podcast episodes and even future YouTube episodes as well. You can give me recommendations, and I'll definitely, you know, try and do the very best I can to put all of those things into play. $10 a month, you get all of that plus a shirt. So you get a basic t-shirt, any color of your choice. And then if you decide to be a premium subscriber like Adam, Superfan, Shawhan over here, then you, for $25 a month, you get a premium t-shirt, everything that I just mentioned. And also you get to choose one council out of the month to be featured on, and it can be the first one, it can be the last one, and you don't have to if you don't want to. It's totally your choice. It is totally your option. And so, Adam, I just want to say thank you very much for joining me on this, but let me give my shout outs to my patrons. For all of my patrons who are amazing people, I want to give a shout out to A Great Jedi, of course, Mr. Adam Shawhan, Dave Bob, Delete System 32, Donald Hudson, Edward Coleman, Enrique Evangelista, Frank the Tank, and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, every single one of them, Greta Zenner, Harold Francis, the Hunka Chunka Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toone, Claffus, Laura Story, Matthew Kadish, Mr. Peabody, and his evil, so evil twin, Outpost Dyer, Perpetual Punster, The DJ D Show, Those Two Ball Guys, Tina B, and Wolfgang Lounge. You are all amazing and beautiful people. Red Storm Fighter, hey Odin, if I donate $1,000, would you poke your eye out? No, because yes, I would appreciate it, but no, I would not poke my eye out. Spidey Flash, where is the skip button on this patron ad? Oh, come on, Spidey Flash. Get out of here with that nonsense. Flipped Out is in the chat. Guys, so tomorrow, obviously, you should guys, if you don't know my stream schedule is Monday and Tuesdays and Saturdays. So Monday is the Welcome to Asgard, Tuesday is the One Man Low Council, and then on Saturdays is our movie nights. But tomorrow, Flipped Out, I'm being featured on his channel. So come join us over on Flipped Out's channel. I don't know if he has an event set up yet, but please go subscribe to him so that way you can be available. And we're going to be talking about some fun stuff over there tomorrow, and that'll be around 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure that you check that out. And Adam, any closing comments or closing words?
Well, Flipped Out, you will be invaded by superfan Adam Shawhan, and not to mention Frank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog clan. All 15 of them will be howling at you in the chat, sir.
Damn
I would like
right.
to thank you, Odin, for allowing me to be on your show. I had a blast, sir, and I will see you all on the next one.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining me once again, Adam. Seriously, it really has been a lot of fun, and I hope it's been fun for you as well. Guys, seriously, thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Go check out the High Council. Give them some love. Do you know where the High Council is being hosted tonight, Adam?
I honestly have no clue.
All right, well, someone in the chat will be able to tell you that information. The Valkyries, I'm sure, have that information. Go check them out because the High Council is awesome, and they're great. EVS, they said EVS, so go check out the EVS channel, Ethan Van Sciver, Comic Artist Pro Secrets, to get some of that beautiful High Council love and the craziness that comes with it. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Have a great night, and as always, God bless, and get ready to rock!